What's going on, y'all? It's Cam. The topic for today is mental health. We're going to call this a fresh start. This is episode 1 of the Solutions playlist, and we're going to jump straight into it. So the first aspect we're going to talk about is obviously teens. I feel like the youth definitely, it's a lot of mental health issues going on right now, and a big part of it is like coping mechanisms. Like you talk about all the pills and everything that is at our disposal nowadays, and on top of that, how social media amplifies the popularity of pills and basically using drugs as a coping mechanism. On top of the fact that they the ones that's producing it. Like healthcare is a multi-billion-dollar industry, multi-trillion-dollar industry probably. I ain't gonna lie. It is definitely a multi-billion-dollar industry, and what I see is, especially in our communities, we have we have what I call a vicious cycle, where it's like, so they putting out all of the drugs that we use as coping mechanisms, and then we get locked up because of the decisions that we make while on those drugs, if the drug is even legal. Like now it's at the point where marijuana is legalized and it's legal in different states, and that's probably the most regular. I ain't gonna lie, probably the most accepted. But when you get to talking about like pills and drinking, when you not prepared for that, like you gotta know your limit. And on top of that, you gotta know, like, as you're developing, you're not there yet. And it's like when we try to jump ahead, and even when you talk about like growing up too fast, like I had this conversation with somebody earlier, like everybody wanna be grown. I ain't gonna lie, bro. If you a teenager watching this, I ain't gonna say you don't wanna be grown, but you don't wanna rush, because even the people that actually enjoy their lives, the people that wake up with a purpose, they're going to tell you, like, you can't get them years back. So it's like, spend that time, you know what I'm saying, doing what you actually love. Like, you don't got to pop pills and drink and smoke to have fun. Like, be you. People don't. I done been to a HBCU in 2 different high schools. So it's like people offered me before, tried to hit me up. Like, no, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm good on that. Just be you. People going to gravitate towards you because you. And the people that shy away from you, they shied away because they don't understand that individualism that you have. And it's like, that individualism is what's actually going to help you identify the people that you're supposed to be with. You're supposed to be working with. You're supposed to be cool with. Like, that type of stuff is important, because moving forward, even when you not being serious, if you and your people not in alignment from a, let's say, economical perspective, if you and your people not in alignment, you going to have a level of focus that's going to compound. That's going to be a virtuous cycle. Now you got a level of focus where you on your own thing, you focus. Not to say you don't have fun, but when people offer you something that you know is outside of your comfort zone, like when you know it's not going to be good for you, doing things that are outside of your comfort zone is good for you, especially in business. But when you know it's something that's not you, you know it's something that has a higher risk than it does reward, then make that decision for yourself, because the only person that can live with your decisions is you. You like, oh, we young. Now, am I going to sit here and say you shouldn't jump off a cliff into that water? Live your life. But you need to know, where them rocks is. And it's not just about actually going. Like, that's real life. You need to know how shallow the waters are. You need to know what the risk to reward ratio is. If it's business and you know that's you, bro, take the risk, bro. Especially if you're young. And it's like, when you talk about mental health, like, it's distractions. There are distractions everywhere. Social media amplifies that. It's like, oh, you looking at a female, you looking at this, you looking at how they doing better than you, and now you want to jump from what's actually for you, that's taking time to build up, to do what they doing. And in reality, they had to go through that process. The only difference is they had the focus and the individualism to lock into what opportunity they were presented that they knew was them, because everything in their life been in alignment up until that point. And you didn't see that. Like, for those of y'all that's in school or recently out of school, y'all know the difference between exponential graph and something that's, what I want to say, like quadratic, like a quadratic versus, I don't know, I'm going to say regular. I've been out of school for too long. We're going to say regular versus a quadratic equation. A regular, say it's like 2x. Like, that joint just look like this. But in business, is typically more exponential. It's typically like this. And social media only shows you the right end of the curve. Social media don't show you how they started at nothing. Or some people started in debt, literally with less than nothing. So it's like, what it comes down to is connecting with people that are in a position that you want to be in, or in a position that you see yourself in the future, or an individual that you want to collaborate with. And that's one and the same, because it's going to come a point where you come out of high school and you like, okay, well, I ain't like what I'm going to do with my life, basically. And it's like all your people around you, when you talk about mental health, all of your people around you, they telling you like, enjoy your youth and do this and do that. And it's like, you should, enjoying yourself is important, and you really find yourself and you find who you are in that, but don't allow people to peer pressure you into doing certain things. We get peer pressure. We get family pressure. Like, say your family, they like, you got to do this if you want to be successful. Like, man, I want to bring Mr. Mason on. I ain't gonna lie, because he gonna go crazy on that. But like, I spoke with a gentleman. He was like, he went through school. He went to a HBCU, and when he graduated, he came back. And he basically was talking with his mom, like, man, Mom, I'm about to take this real estate stuff serious. And she like, are you doing it out of spite, or are you doing that because that's what you really want to do? And he like, that's really what I want to do. Like, this is an opportunity. This is what I'm gravitated towards. He took that individualism path. When you talk about mental health is more, it's composed of multiple variables. It's external factors. It's how you decide to interpret and what you decide to receive, and how you decide to apply those external factors to your life. And then everything else that you add to the mix, i.e. drugs, i.e. influences. Like, well, influences is external, but like, when I want to talk about like concrete, like when you talk about drugs, stuff that you know is like gonna slow you down, basically. And if you up, like, I personally don't drink, but like when I do drink, it's going to be champagne, because it's like, that's where I am mentally. I'm like, I couldn't care less about strong drink. Well, that's how it is in a word. But I couldn't care less about liquor, none of that. But like, when it come time to celebrate, bro, like, pop the bottles, bro. It don't matter if it's ace of spades, whatever. Like, celebrate. Because when you do, not only will you be able to reset, you will be able to reflect. And you will realize how even your shortcomings was blessings. When you talk about mental health, instead of turning to a pill to deal with that situation, you like, I personally go to God. I'm going to be real. I pray about it, because when you pray about it and you choose to like really step away from everybody that's influencing you, trying to tell you what to do, and you look how everything is panned out, and you start to connect the dots, or you do your best to just keep going in what you're doing that you know is working, then you're going to have the clarity to make a decision that's going to actually make that situation that was hindering you benefit you. Like, me and my pops had a conversation. He was like, when he was younger, he used to think things were falling apart. When in reality, when I look back, I was stressing. And when I came out of it, everything was falling into place. And when you have that mentality, I personally got it because I'm working to grow as a man of God. There's a difference between being a Christian and being a man of God. Christians is the ones that's going to tell you, oh, you're going to hell if you do this, or you need to tithe and da-da-da-da. Like, a man of God is going to meet you where you are. If you homeless, what I look like sitting here asking you for 10% of what you get? God knows where you are. God will convict you. Like, say you walking your path with it. You walking your path. You want to become a man of God, woman of God. He knows that you're struggling, that you're literally using your money. He knows when you will be financially competent enough to get that 10%. And then when you get that 10%, he going to make the 90% greater than whatever the 100% was in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you have a different perspective, when you look at things differently, when you talk about mental health is composed of multiple variables. Like I said, it's all about perspective. And it's very difficult for me to say people over profit when you're in a position, like, say you're in a position where you're not there financially. You're not where you want to be financially. Or say you making ends meet. You barely making ends meet. It's difficult to say people over profit. But in reality, when you look at what brands do large scale, yes, they started with seed money. But look at what they did to get there. Like, for example, you talk about mental health. Let's talk about mentalities as a community. Our people, we all want to go to the league, which is understandable if that's your opportunity. But nobody is looking into ownership. When you talk about, let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. One of my business partners, Mr. Ellaby, he told me to look into Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones bought the Dallas Cowboys in 1989 for It was either 150 million or like 190 million. I don't remember. But today they evaluated over 7.4 billion dollars. I seen two. It was one that was 7.4 and it was one that was 9 billion. But at the end of the day, it's at least $7.4 billion in evaluation. When you talk about the word evaluation for a business, say the business is doing $250,000 in net cash flow, but you doing all of the work, that business is going to be worth $250 because you're doing all the work. If it's a business that's doing $250,000 in profit, to make it as simple as possible, but you have a team built out, that's a well-oiled machine, that business is worth 4x. It's worth a 4x multiple. 4 years times what you're doing this year is worth $1 million. So when you get steeper, like when you get into like the $1 billion evaluations, you can get 10, 15x multiples. So the idea is you take your opportunity, say it's meant for you to play basketball. You go D1, you get a woman and y'all start a family business. Now y'all build out the family business and delegate. Those of y'all that don't know what delegate means, look it up because it is going to be vital in your journey if you are meant to be a business owner, if you are meant to be an investor. When you learn how to delegate, now you making money and you're creating equity at the same time. Then you can go and sell that business and go acquire something, or go acquire another income producing asset, a cash flowing asset. When you talk about mental health, we're focused on being a player. To draw everything together, Michael Jordan made more money. Listen to this. Like, tune in. If you're not listening, tune in. Michael Jordan made more money than he did his entire athletic career when he liquidated his shares in the Charlotte Hornets. Think about that. When you think about that, it's like, okay, well, how can I? Oh, well, I'm not Michael Jordan. I don't have the money to do that. The idea is you take the time to have a mental moment. Instead of coping with pills and this, like, I'm not going to downplay your situation because I don't know you. I know it's people out there that do drugs because it's cool. And I know it's people out there that do drugs because they don't know how else to deal with their situation. But when you look at the opportunities that you've presented, this is especially for my youth because y'all are the ones that don't have responsibilities. And it would be hypocritical or condescending for me to say this to, say, someone that's a parent. Like, I say you should take heed as well because this is what ultimately is necessary for you to see the type of change that you want to see full circle. But this is specifically tailored towards my youth because y'all are the ones that are coming up. Y'all are the ones that don't have responsibilities, that you're really blowing your money on nothing. Like, I personally am at a stage, I'm 20, I'll still live with my parents. I personally am at a stage where I'm burning like 60 to 70% of the money that I have coming in on my business because it's going to compound. I don't have expenses. If you still live with your parents, like, use that. That is an opportunity. Now, while you in high school, enjoy high school. But at the same time, pay attention because you don't want it to be your junior, senior year and now you thinking like, man, what am I going to do with my life? If you know that college is not for you, you feel like you don't want to go to school, you have to explore other opportunities in advance. Because come graduation time, like, you go on social media, y'all know TikTok. You go on social media, like, it was a video, it was graduation, the whole background was everybody throwing their caps, and the very next day they was in Amazon. Like, that's real life. But what you have to understand is I was driving down Lakeshore with one of my family members. And I was like, you can get one of them high rises. And she was like, I live in the real world. And what I said was, them skyscrapers is real. McLaren's is real. Designer clothes is real. Businesses are real. Like, everything that you have ever seen, literally anything that you can think of can be real. And it's like, when you think about that, oh, I live in the real world. Well, what you do is you take a mental break and you take a step back. Instead of thinking, all white people took advantage of us or we don't have the same opportunities, you focus on what they did and you do what you can. Because I personally am a man of God, as in Jesus Christ. If you don't believe in that, look, I'm planting seeds and I'm just trying to implant. I'm trying to make my mark on the world. And that's what it comes down to. This is a reason to wake up. But when you realize, like, this is this is what's for you, you're going to take that chance. You're going to take that opportunity and you're going to do your part. Basically, when you do your part, everything will be in alignment. You do what you can and you make the sacrifices that you can and you be content with that. I personally struggle with that because whenever you just focus, you can get burned out or you can get frustrated when things don't pan out the way you want them to. Or say you working with other people and they not as there as you want them to be, or you strong arming, or it's not. You're supposed to let it flow. There has to be a flow. You do your part and allow the external factors to, like I said previously, fall into place. Because when you do, instead of seeing the issues and getting frustrated, like, yes, that's stopping you from doing what you really want to do when you know you're capable. But hiccups happen for a reason. Speed bumps are there for a reason. Most speed bumps are created so you don't crash. What's up to you is you need to take a step back mentally. I'm going to say this again because this is very important. You need to take a step back mentally and see what are speed bumps and to see what are potholes that were created by people that are trying to distract you, that are trying to take you away from your path. Or for my men of God and women of God out there, the enemy trying to pull you away from what's for you. That X that's hitting you up when you know you're supposed to be shooting a video today. Like, take heed to the signs. Take heed to the timing. The more BS that you go through that you can't control, that's literally, and you know that you're on the right path, that's literally an indicator that you're close to where you're working towards. Like, you closer today than you've ever been before. Like, that sounds kind of cliche, but it's legitimate. And at the end of the day, we're at a stage where you have no choice but to do it. And it's like, especially you know I ain't gonna say you know you're gonna wake up, but you know, like, you have no choice but to get up and conduct everyday life. So you might as well do it doing what you love. And it's like, you can't outsource your happiness. Joy comes from within. Happiness is a fleeting emotion, put it that way. When you go and you seek your joy in other people, it's gonna be fun for the moment, and then you're going to regret it later. Whether you regret it the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year, next decade, whatever. But as you get older, you're going to start to see how your decisions compound and you're going to understand opportunity costs. When you talk about mental health in adults, for those of you that are parents, I wouldn't say that I'm against or for college. Like I shared, it's all about your opportunity, because I personally had to go to Southern University in Baton Rouge to see that different demographic, to see how they conduct themselves in just a whole different environment. And it gave me a different perspective. I personally had to go, like, when I came back from Southern, I went to a community college. I went to Harold Washington in Chicago. And I basically ended up taking African-American studies. And that's what has equipped me to have these kinds of conversations. So even though I couldn't care less about school, like, I had decent grades all throughout ever since, I told y'all my dad grabbed me by my shirt. I was locked in mentally. I ain't gonna lie. But, like, ever since that point, I had decent grades. So I couldn't care less about school because I'm like, why would I get up and pour 100% of myself into something that will potentially provide a mediocre life? And I don't want to say mediocre, but, like, those of you, like, 6 figures is literally worth less today than it was yesterday. And it's like, what it comes down to is you have to disassociate making money from time. Because when you have that opportunity, like, I want to bring him on the show, Mr. Ellaby. When he was with his aunt, and his aunt lived right behind the Falcon Stadium. So the neighbor, the person that owned the building, would lease out the other lot for parking. So his aunt basically had an idea, like, she would the people in the building only took up a certain percentage of their lot, and their lot was literally on the other side of the alley, so they could use that as parking as well. So what Ellaby did was he suggested that he have his aunt ask the people in the building to put their cars on one side so they can fit additional cars in. At this point in time, he like single digit. He like 7, 8 years old. So now she got an extra 7, 8 spots. And say them 7, 8 spots is $20 each. So now every home game that the Falcons have, his aunt was like, whatever additional income I make because of those spots, because of the idea that you came up with, I'll give it to you. So now he's making, 7, 8 times 20? So 70? So let's say 140 to 160. He making $140 to $160 per game because of an idea he had in the past, every game, on repeat. And that's how business work. And to make it simple, this is the same thing. Mental health is simplifying things. Make it as simple as possible. Like, especially if you're an existing business owner. Determine what the highest income producing. There's a producer, he a content creator called Neil Davidson. He basically, it was a video. He was like, business owners too often they focused on MWA, minimum wage activities. So if you're a business owner, isolate what produces income and you focus on that and you delegate for everything else. Especially if it's something that you don't like something that you don't like doing, or say you don't have the budget for it. Like, collaborate with someone this is especially important for my Black people. You hear crabs in a barrel, which is a mental construct. You hear that's competition. Like, if you don't have $1 billion corporation, you're not competing. I'm not going to say it like, I want to reword that. I want to cut that and I want to reword that. Because if you're not at $1 billion, or like more like a high 9-figure company, it's not about competition. It's about collaborating. You don't know. Like, when you talk about, say, vertical integrations, say you run a property management company say it's evaluated at $1 million. Say there's another property management company, but your property management company manages properties in Indiana. Theirs manages properties in Illinois. How are y'all competing? But when you hit them up, say y'all have meetings or whatever, y'all have reciprocal conversations. So you like, well, our top producer is doing this and your top producer is doing this. So it's like, well, we hadn't even thought about that. So now y'all can do what's called a merger. You would rather have 50, that's another thing. Try to avoid 50% splits, because when it comes time to make decisions, you want somebody to have a majority. So basically, determine who brings the most value and they get a majority equity. Those of y'all that don't know what equity is, so look up equity. You have to understand what equity is. That is important. When Michael Jordan sold his shares, he sold his equity in the Charlotte Hornets. People talking about, when you talk about mental health, people are focused on Michael Jordan sells the Charlotte Hornets. They didn't get any titles, but you realize they didn't emphasize the fact that he made more. I'm going to say this again. He made more money on the exit of his shares in the Charlotte Hornets than he did his entire athletic career. That's what you focus on. So say you do a 60% split. So you own 60% of the company. The other company that you partner with, they own 40%. We'll say the Illinois one owns 60 because, Indiana is kind of a smaller scale when you talk about Northwest Indiana. But say you all go in, you would rather have 60% of a $10 million corporation than 100% of a $1 million corporation. And that's a mental construct. When you drop that barrier and you understand the opportunities in collaboration is all around us. Everywhere that you have ever spent money is a business. When you think about shows, when you think about world tours like Lollapalooza or whatever music festival, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't up on them too tough. But like that's all collaboration. When you think about features on a song, it's songs that, oh well, I'm not working with y'all. Like if you do straight you're not gonna bring in external crowds. It's people that may only listen to Currency, but they see he do a feature with Larry June. Now they just put you on a Larry June. But Larry June crowd, they just got put on the Currency. And that's collaboration. And that's where the money is. And I want to revisit people over profit. When we talk about mental health, the mental construct of people over profit, the more value you provide, the more people will pay you. People will want to pay you. People will give you their money if you're providing value, if you're providing something that's worth more to them than that money. For example, I drink coconut water. I'm not going to show that brand because we got a pending sponsorship deal with them. So we going to see if they come in correct before I start promoting them. But for example, it's all about value provision. I pay, say, $4 a unit for coconut water, which is actually cheap, but I buy it wholesale, which is another opportunity. It's levels. It's levels to it. You can pick which lane you want to be. You could be the wholesaler. You could be retail. Wholesale is like, say it's a supplier. Retail is like Walmart, who sells for a markup. So bringing it all back. Coconut water. I pay an extra, say, $2-3 a unit versus a regular water bottle because it's coconut water. Coconut water actually hydrates me because it has electrolytes. When you talk about mental health, it's about decisions. It's about choosing to make better decisions. I could sit up and drink a whole lot of water and just continue to deal with the same problems. But no, I took my time. Instead of getting frustrated, I used to get dehydration headaches. So it's like I had no choice but to seek out a solution. Was I still hooping? Was I still getting dehydration headaches in that process? Absolutely. But was I going to stop trying to find a solution because it wasn't working? No. And eventually God presented coconut water. God presented putting pink Himalayan salt in my water because I'm lacking electrolytes. I'm lacking the components. This is scalable. You can apply that to your business. When you talk about, those of you that don't know what commoditize means, look it up. When you're a commodity, like when you're a business that can be commoditized, like you and like say Airbnb, y'all both had the same type of property, and it's really just who can provide it cheaper because y'all in the same area, same type of property. When you talk about value, say you giving out gift cards, say you doing tickets, or say you collaborating with a detailing company and you like a free detail, or say you collaborate with a rental car company. So now you like discounted rental. You know, if it's an Airbnb, they most likely coming from out of state. They may need a rental car. So now you putting that up as a part of your marketing. Then you market that to people that are coming in town. Like say you collaborate with somebody that, I don't know, say works at an airport, and you get the statistics from them and you do intentional marketing. Like that type of stuff is what makes you stand out. Then customers will pay you based on value and not based on commoditizing. Because if you and them both producing the same type of property, then they gonna go with whoever's cheaper. Whenever you commoditize, and that's a race to the bottom. That's a vicious cycle. You want a virtuous cycle. Virtuous cycles are composed of value propositions. So that's what matters. It's all mental. When you talk about social media, use social media to help you. Because as long as you sitting there mindlessly scrolling on TikTok, like it's very entertaining, but like you can use that same abundance of information to get you to where you want to be, to bring you to that reality. So when you see those people that are around your age that are successful, you not like, man, I wish I could do that, or I'm gonna get that one day, and you continue scrolling on TikTok. You like, okay, well, instead of doing it that way, I start to look up these types of business owners, because business owners have social media pages as well. And the business owners that understand that the money is behind value proposition, they have a social media page where they're dropping knowledge, they're dropping gems. It's people out there that understand that there's money in education, in business education, specific business education. Say you have a company that's renowned, and you have a reputable company, and you can charge based on your reputation. So you know it's a reputable company because you've seen them before. They can sell courses. Now, do I advise selling courses? It depends, because when you charge people, they're going to show up. But it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is just to provide value for the community, there are ways that you can generate income through collaboration. Like, say, for example, you want to do a store. You partnering with a social media marketing agency, which is affiliates. If you don't understand affiliate marketing, you need to get into that as well. Well, you need to look it up. I don't want to say get into it. Get into what you have been called to get into, what everything you've been in alignment with. Focus on that. Don't allow people to, you should sell health insurance. You should do it. Like, no, focus on what's for you. Just because there's money there doesn't mean that's for you, because the money is there if you're good at what you do and you're good at what you're supposed to be doing. So focus on that. And say it's a free course, but you include affiliate links, like say, they have to be connected with a supplier. You include a supplier link where they give you 10% on whatever the customer spends. So now you making your money off of affiliate links time and time again. And on top of that, you're keeping them engaged. Your goal is to educate the community, and you want to make money even if you want to break even on the production from the affiliate links. Now you got a virtuous cycle. Like, it's all about mental constructs. When you talk about family, and I'm going to close on this, family is sensitive. In general, when you take advice, pay attention to how that advice panned out in those individuals' lives. If it's somebody telling you, you should enjoy your life and do this, it's because the way they see it, after you get out of college, life get hard, it's real life, you got responsibilities, when in reality, say you start a clothing brand and you, like I said, leverage social media to market your brand, you collaborate to scale. You do that while you in high school where there's an abundance of clientele, or you do that while you're in college while there's an abundance of clientele. Now that exponential scale, now you about here by the time you at graduating age. And that's the difference between you being locked in and actually taking heed to the signs that are being presented to you and just enjoying your life, partying every weekend just to reset yourself or just doing whatever. You just on a game. Like, bro, if you live with your parents and you don't know, like, you have no choice but to focus, because it's going to come a point in time where either they're going to kick you out or you're going to be in a situation. Say you don't have a great relationship with your parents and you in between. That's the time for you to take risks, because it's going to pay dividends in the future. What they don't understand is we have different opportunities than they had. So we don't have to do it that way. We shouldn't do it that way. We should rebuild our communities. We should walk in our purpose, because that's what matters. Going to school, getting a good paying job, and just staying there doesn't matter. And I say that because at the end of the day, somebody is winning. And if you're not taking steps intentionally to get on that side, to make your side the winning side, then you're a part of the problem. You like, well, for example, I had a conversation with my family member, like, she was like, when you do public speaking, you could paint the picture like, if you don't graduate high school, McDonald's won't even look at you, because, we talk about mental health. How does school benefit me? So let's talk about high school. Like, I'm taking physics. Like, how is this going to benefit me and what I'm doing? High school teaches you arithmetic. It teaches you problem solving. I'm a strong advocate of graduating high school. I ain't gonna lie. Because, like, you look at Jay-Z, he kind of can't articulate himself. Did he make it? He took his opportunity. But can he articulate himself? Would he be the best businessman to present for, say, an actual business proposition if he wasn't at his financial state he is now? No. High school teaches you that arithmetic. It teaches you how to process. It teaches you problem solving, which is essential for whatever you go into in life. And that picture has to be painted. If you're a parent trying to influence your kids that you need to lock in and take school serious, you can't sit up and say, oh, McDonald's won't even hire you if you don't do this, because now you sound like a parent. When you paint the picture and you tell them reasoning, not just something that's hedged, something that you see that you've experienced, you tell them reasoning. You take the approach of high school teaches you problem solving. You say you don't understand how how physics, let's say physics or calculus, you don't understand how that's going to benefit you in real life. It teaches you problem solving. So say you're meant to go and open a restaurant. If you just drop out of high school and start a restaurant, of course you can learn by just collaborating and learning from them. 100%. But say in high school, you marketing, that's clientele, that's marketing opportunities. You're learning problem solving in a foreign space. Say you scale your restaurant, but now you want to get into franchising. You stuck it out through high school and you graduated. Now you have a level of problem solving where your endurance to deal with issues that you have no choice but to get through is built up. Now when problems arise, you like, well, I did this for something I couldn't care less about. So now it's my business. Like, okay, I know, say tutoring. You got to make it your opportunity. When I talk about your opportunity, if you're going to college, use college, network in college, especially if you undecided, like network, look into who you want to be, because you use that to say tutoring is like going to a mentor. Say you open a McDonald's franchise. Tutoring is the equivalent of going to a mentor. Say you in school, you just fizzled out. You like, I'm not doing that because it's not going to help me. Instead of that, you took the approach of, I'm going to do it because it's teaching me problem solving. Now, when that time comes up, you decided to go to tutoring in high school. So now as you operate your business, you decide to go to a mentor when a problem arises in your business. That's mental health. I just showed y'all how to paint the picture to your kids as a parent, as a family member. Don't discourage them from their opportunity, because every huge business that you see was created by a person. Every one of them. So don't discourage them based on your limitations or your mental structure. Support them. And when you support them, give them constructive criticism. Tell them how they're going wrong. And you, as a young person, you need to take heed to that. Because if they're giving you constructive, especially if they trying to change, they trying to take the solution mindset instead of highlighting what could go wrong, take heed to that, bro. And like paint the picture. See how that would affect you moving forward. Like if they telling you need to hire people, don't be like, oh, well, they be having attitudes and da-da-da-da. Network with a business owner that has an HR system set up. Now you could pay them to get you a high quality team member that's going to come in and put in work for you. Now your customer service goes up. Now that's an investment. Now people coming back to you because it's good customer service. Like, that's mental health, full circle. As a community, as a family member, as a person, as an individual, as a business owner, it's full circle. So focus on your opportunity and focus on who you are as a person. As long as you're trying to outsource your joy, you will be in the same place or worse. So with that said, y'all, peace out. Tune in to the next video. We doing weekly drops. All of my socials will be below. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and y'all tune in for the next one. I love y'all and peace out.